Hey, what's good, everybody? This is Brant with CPC Bodybuilding, the home of men's classic physique. We've got a preview of the Optimum Classic Pro in Shreveport, Louisiana this upcoming weekend. It's Saturday, May 25th, and I've got an IFBB Classic Physique Pro here to preview this one with me. I've got Jay Yount with me. Jay, thanks for joining, man. Really appreciate you, brother.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm really excited to preview this Optimum Classic with you. It's a lot of great guys in this show, so let's get right into it, man. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. And before we jump into the preview, I want to make sure that we give Jay a big shout out. Jay is actually just coming off a very successful competitive season. If you guys have been paying attention to Classic this year, Jay has been making waves. So Jay just finished second in Charlotte and third in Pittsburgh in just his second year as an IFBB pro. And Jay's also a hostile athlete. You can use all of his codes here on his Instagram. His tag is JYount_. So make sure you guys go to his Instagram, give him a follow there. He's one of the fastest rising young IFBB pros out there, and definitely worth a follow. Great guy. And make sure you guys go give him your support. So excited to have Jay on for this one, to preview this one, because he's competed against a lot of these guys. So this is pretty exciting. Jay's an expert in classic physique, as well as, he knows a lot of these guys personally. So we're going to jump into this lineup here. So we got Kirk Anderson, we got Zay Anyasor, Harold Bright, Camilo Diaz, Derek and Franklin, very sporty Irving, Hunter Lee making his pro debut, Matt Orchard, Lamar Shaw, Jorge Tibet, Adam Thomas, and Eric Wildberger. So that's our full lineup for the Optimum Classic Pro in Shreveport, Louisiana, again, it's this Saturday, May 25th. So our first competitor, we got Kirk Anderson out of the United States here. Kirk has competed like all around the world. So this is from his last show in India. He actually traveled to India last year to do the Sharu Classic, which is pretty dope to see, an American guy make that journey so far. We'll pull up a couple of these shots here. Jay, just looking at this ab and thigh with a little bit of a vacuum. What are your first impressions of Kirk's physique, man?
Honestly, man, it goes straight to the lines. Like, he has really crisp, clean lines through the quads. He's got lines all the way through like the rectus femoris, all the way up to the hip. And they kind of, really flow and lead well into that like smaller waist. And he pulls a really nice vacuum here. Overall conditioning looks really solid. He's got a good set of calves on him too. So shout out to him because, that's sometimes overlooked. But a really just nice flowing, classic line physique over here. Very streamlined with great condition on him.
Yeah, I think you make some great points, man. He's just got a very clean look. I think that's what I would sum up Kirk's physique with. Just very
100%.
solid all around. But we haven't seen a whole lot of like recent updates. So I know he just recently became a father too. So big shout out to Kirk there. He's been a very busy guy.
Congrats
And
to
I'm
him
sure
and
he's going to be
his partner.
Yeah. So I'm excited for Kirk. I think he's going to bring a great look to the show. I'll be intrigued to see what kind of improvements he's bringing. Couple of sneak peeks here. Conditions there too. Glutes are coming in. So
that's the most recent shots he's posted, or
yeah, these were from a couple of days ago. So I think this is about a week out. So
okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's Kirk Anderson. Next up, we got Zay Anyasor. Chibueze is his full name, but he goes by Zay. And this is from his most recent appearance at Texas State, which was last year. Pretty solid lineup at that show. Zay got 7th there, and there were a few Olympians, a lot of really good pro debuts at that show. I really like Zay's shape. Jay, what stands out to you when we look at some of this footage?
I was going to say shape overall, just the flow of the physique, massive legs. Look at that from the back, like the hamstrings and the quad sweep from the back is just wild. He looks like he has a pretty decent back as well, man. So everything's pretty much there. I think it'll come down to, I would like to see him a little bit sharper. You know what I mean? Just a little bit harder and drier. But overall, like the flow of the physique is very classy. He's got a great core on him too, with a tiny waist, and I'm just really in love with those crazy sweeping quads. Those are wild looking.
Yeah, dude looks nuts. Like I'm a huge fan of his physique. He's leveled up tremendously. Like if you look at these shots, so he took 3 years off in
Oh wow,
between these
yeah,
photos and improved dramatically, I think. And I think Zay's one of those guys who he has and you see him here next to Barbs, who's an Olympian. He certainly holds his own, and like you said, just maybe a touch sharper. And he's got the size, he's got the shape, the muscle bellies, you name it, man. Like this guy's right there.
100%.
I'm hoping we can. This is the most recent, but like these shots are a little dark though. It's like it's tough to see the lighting in this posing room isn't really on him, unfortunately. But I mean, I think Zay, regardless of what shape he comes in, if he let's assume he comes in same shape as Texas State last year, I think Zay's top five in the show. Like with
Yeah,
that shape, like I think he's right there. He's definitely in the discussion here. So that's Zay Onyesor. Next up, we got Harold Bright, who I still think is one of the best Masters classic physique guys out there. He often doesn't compete in Masters. He typically just does the open division because he's so damn good for a Masters guy. I think he's like 51 maybe. Like
golly, it's crazy.
dude is insane. I'm hoping to find some stage footage. But like I mean even if just looking at these photos from this photo shoot, like this is insane, dude.
Yeah, that looks wild. I was gonna say that looks crazy. Shout out the photographer too, man.
Yeah, this is some great work, but as you can see here, like Harold's a huge dude. I want to say he's like 6'3" or something like that. Um,
God,
and he's placed pretty well at pro shows before. He did Optimum last year, and he got ninth, which wasn't his best placing. But Harold has shown in the past, like he's placed top five in pro shows with good competitors. So this is a guy that I don't really think you can count out necessarily in any show, especially when he brings his best. So I'm looking forward to see Harold in this show. So that's Harold Bright. Next up, we got a guy that you've competed against many times. This is Camilo Diaz. So,
yes, sir.
Jay, you've seen him up close and personal, man. What makes Camilo so special?
Yeah, first off, he's a really good friend, man. He's all around great guy. You know what I mean? So shout out to Camilo. He's one of my boys. But yeah, man, Camilo is just huge. He barely makes that weight cap every time. And I know what he goes through to suffer and get down to the condition he does, and he's always dialed in. I know he works with Aceto, so him and Aceto got a really good method going right now. This is probably the best I've seen him in a minute. As far as this season, I've really liked his look this season. He's coming in sharp at every single show, still full and round and just peeled all the way through. And I think his shape has even got better from last year, to be honest, from what I've seen in person too. His waist looks a little bit tinier. His vacuum's pulled a little bit deeper. And I just really like Camilo, man. Great guy and just crazy all around, like physique with wild muscle bellies, like just super round in 3D.
Yeah, he's a 2022 Olympian for a reason. Won that Mid USA Pro a couple years ago to take him to that Olympia. And dude's one of those guys he could come in on and really push guys like Eric in this show. I think if Camilo's look is there, he brings that extra fullness. He's got the muscularity to hang. It's just a matter of what the peak looks like and just how Eric's peak goes too. Because I think Eric is probably the favorite headed into this one, but Camilo is definitely a guy. He's got to be in the mix there. So
100%. Yeah, he'll be up there.
yeah, so that's Camilo Diaz out of Colombia. Next up, we got Derek and Franklin's. So I'll touch on him real quick. Pull up another one of these shots. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna pull up the stage photos real quick. There we go. So Derek and Franklin this guy's 55 and looks absolutely fantastic. He's a Masters pro. I'm gonna pull up a back double here too. Here we go. A lot of muscle on this guy. Like I was really impressed at looking at these shots. This was from Charlotte, I think in 2023. Yeah,
Yeah.
and massive for 55 years old. Like this guy's
Yeah.
insane. And he's
I
got a
hope to
lot of
look half.
cojones like competing with these open guys, man. What do you think of these shots, Jay?
I mean, honestly, yeah, the mass is there. He doesn't have to worry about size really. You can see everything there. But like for 55, man, like I hope to look halfway he does at 55. So him getting up there and still looking this way and bringing this type of physique and this much mass still at like the age he is crazy, man. So I'm excited to see what he brings to Shreveport on show day.
Yeah, I think he's gonna bring a really solid package, man. Like he's got some cojones. Like I said, competing with all these open guys, like this is like my hat is off to him. And I think his arms and his legs are just incredible, dude.
Yeah.
Like you said, I hope I look that good when I'm 55. All right, so
Looking at
next
damn
up we
45,
got
man. I hope.
a good friend of mine. Yeah, spot on, bro. So this is Barry Irving, aka Sporty. It's probably what you guys know him as. You've competed
Yeah.
against Barry before, namely at the Charlotte Pro. So what makes Barry like so captivating from a classic perspective?
So yeah, I competed with Barry in Charlotte just recently, and again, just another one of those guys who's just a really good all around dude. So shout out to him. It was the first time we met in person. He was just great. We took a picture together and all that kind of stuff. So really good camaraderie with him. But he just has like more of that classic flowing physique, and he's definitely one of the best posers in the game right now. I would say, as far as for what I've seen in person. He puts together amazing routines, even just his regular just posing all around. He's super polished. So he doesn't miss a beat as far as posing goes. So I feel like with that classic flowing physique, if he nails it, it's just all about nailing that peak and coming in perfect on show day. If he does nail that look and brings a little bit more conditioning and hardness to the stage, with that posing, he can top a lot of people just because for one, that posing you can outpost some people too already off the bat. And then with the physique he brings, you know what I mean? He can definitely climb up the ranks pretty quickly in a lineup.
Yeah, just to refresh people's memory, Barry was third at this show last year. Eric won this show
Yeah.
last year, and Barry was right there. Tomas Adame, who ended up winning Tri City this year, he
Yep.
ended up in second place at that show. So Barry behind two Olympians at that show. So he's going to be right there. I think he's definitely going to be in the mix here in this show. So next up, we've got the only pro debut that I'm aware of in this lineup. This is Hunter Lee. So Hunter turned pro back in 2022 at USA's, won the middleweight class. And these are some shots from a couple of years ago. And this condition is insane, dude.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's the first thing that stands out to me is that conditioning is sharp. It looks like he absolutely nails it on show day. So
Let's see if we got any more recent updates. This is let's see. No physique
he's a
updates. Keeping us guessing. Love it.
there you go. That
But I mean,
Dorian
just
Yates
going off of
mentality,
these
right?
shots, yeah. Just going off of these shots, man. I think just depending on what he looks like shape wise, I actually don't think like this condition or size is really going to be like an issue for this guy. Like he's got both of those. I think he's probably a shorter guy, but he very well could hold his own in terms of muscularity because of that. And his ultimate goal is to be in 212. I know, but classic
Got you.
is where he is right now, and I think he's trying to make the most out of it. And like this is a good look. I'll be intrigued to see what he looks like stacked up against some of these like really seasoned pros, man.
100%, man. I mean, me being like, I'm 5'9", so maybe a little bit above, but being a shorter guy, I do get it in classic. It's a bit tougher for us shorter guys, so we do have to really fill out our frames and nail our peak perfectly to compete with some of these taller, 6 foot to like 6'2", 6'3" guys with these giant frames and just taking up a lot of space on stage. So, I'm rooting for him. I know he's a Texas boy too, so I don't know where he's based out of, but I saw a few pics at a local, gym here. So shout out to him. Hopefully he can bring this style of conditioning and level of hardness and muscularity to that stage. And I think he'll do a lot of damage, especially moving on up from a conditioning standpoint alone. So
Yeah, he's definitely going to get looked at. If you come in shape, you're going to get looked at no matter what. So
100%.
I think this is going to be a good pro debut for Hunter Lee. And speaking of condition, we got Matt Orchard, who made his pro debut at New York. See if we can pull up some of these. This is the 4K footage from Gilco. I don't think this particularly does him justice, because I think this might have been at finals. At prejudging, he looked extremely, extremely peeled.
Okay.
And he was 12th here at New York. But this is a guy like who I think has a lot of potential. He's got a big frame. He looks like a taller guy. I'm not sure how tall he is, but like I really like this shot for him, this teacup right here.
Oh yeah, for sure. Very aesthetic. I think he's playing to his strengths too, the way he poses. And yeah, like these shots right here, it looks, if this was probably like more around the prejudging look, maybe.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so.
this is pretty, it looks like he nailed his peak. So as far as the prejudging looks, so I don't know what happened at finals, but right here he looks nailed. He's got an overall great look, some great lines. Like, always love those quad lines all the way going up through the hip, feathering up everywhere. And he looks like in crazy shape. He's got, striations across the chest, across the delts. Obviously, pro debut, I went through the same thing. Could use some more size and stuff like that, but overall, the package is there, and I think if he just keeps on nailing his conditioning and comes in like he did at the prejudging, I think he can still probably steal a couple spots from some people and move on up.
Yeah, Matt Orchard's definitely got a bright future. I'm certainly rooting for him. Came all the way from Australia to make his pro debut at New
Oh
York,
wow,
which is awesome, man. Definitely making
that's
some memories while he's here in the States.
100%.
So next up, we got another guy that you've competed against, Jay. This is Lamar Shaw, a 2022 Olympian. Use some check-ins, but we're gonna do some footage from Charlotte. I think this is his night show routine. Now, Jay, having seen him up close and personal, what do you think some of Lamar's strengths are?
He's got a great back. I'll say that right off the bat. So he separates himself from the back for sure. Really crazy sweeping lats. He's got a lot of thickness and detail back there. He's got some crazy quads on him too. So just an overall, like, great classic X frame is what he brings. And he's an Olympian for a reason. So he's going to be dangerous in every single show he's in. And he's always going to be a threat. So I think, again, it just comes down to nailing everything perfect on that show day. XYZ may happen. Nothing's ever perfect sometimes with bodybuilding. But if he can nail it, like, again, he's an Olympian, and you can see already from this back shot, like, that's a really good back. And that'll separate you from the pack very quickly. If you can nail that, density and hardness and everything back there as well through the hamstrings and the glutes, that's a shot that'll, really win the judges over. And that's what Lamar has, is just a freaky back. So,
Yeah, he brings great shape, great condition,
yeah.
and I'll be intrigued to see what he looks like in terms of going up against some of these bigger guys like Camilo and Eric, and I think that's going to be a very fun matchup to watch, because Lamar's shape is like it's there, man. It
Oh,
compares
100%.
very well with a lot of people. So
It's a very classic shape.
yeah, so I think he's definitely gonna make some noise here in this lineup. Next up, this is my wild card here. This is Jorge Tibet out of Spain. So this is from his last appearance. So he was third at Hurricane back in 2022. He's taken quite a bit of time off, but dude's got superb shape. Jay, what do you think of some of this footage right here, man?
I was going to say, I've actually seen Jorge in person at the San Antonio Pro. I'm guessing that was like 2022, because you were
Yeah.
saying he took like a year off or something like that. And from a conditioning standpoint alone, he blew me away. Like he came out hard as nails. Like his condition was nasty at San Antonio. So, and you can see here his condition looks pretty solid here. He's got everything, and he's got a really classic shape too. Like pulls a great vacuum. He's got really deep lines, and he's got like a great X frame and just overall classic flow to his physique. So I was gonna say he's your wild card. He's a wild card for me too. Having seen him in person, I'm excited to see what that year has done for him though, as far as the growth that he's put in.
Yeah, I think the one critique I would have is the upper body, particularly the width, is amazing. But I
Oh
think
yeah,
the legs need to come up to match it. And that's probably what he's been working on. So, I mean, I think
and
Jorge could
if
do very well.
he did bring those legs up, it'll be very dangerous.
Hmm. Yeah, because he's got the structure. So
Yeah,
Jorge Tibet out of Spain. Next up, we got Adam Thomas, another guy who came up from Men's Physique a couple years ago. So he actually did the very first show that I covered in Classic, which was Texas Pro 2022. And he did New York last week, ninth place at that show. But like, I mean, to me, I look at this and this is not a ninth place physique. This is better. Jay, what do you think of this footage right here of Adam?
I was gonna say, man, I'm surprised he got ninth. I'm really surprised he didn't move up a little bit. I've seen a lot of his updates and stuff like that, and I think the switch from men's physique to classic was a great one for him. Like it really fits him. He's got a very classic shape. He's got a crazy back too as well. I know he's always had a crazy back in men's physique, so he's just able to display it more with more poses here to show that off. So he's got really great legs too from the back. Everything, you see the adductors touching, which is, really crazy to see on a back shot. I really like that. But overall, yeah, I mean, for a transition from men's physique to classic, for this being such a big show at the New York Pro, I think he should be really happy with how he came in. And I think as he continues to keep doing shows in classic, he'll just get better. So I'm expecting even better showing from him here at the Optimum.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Definitely got a bright future, and as he continues to make those appearances, I only expect him to do better. I mean, like this is great shape, conditions nailed. It's really just a matter of like getting the experience competing and like I don't want to say earn your stripes because like I think that's a bit of a cliche sometimes, but like sometimes you just got to get your feet wet, get
Yeah,
your name out there a little bit, and like people will start to see you and see your improvements, and the judges are going to reward that. And I think Adam's going to definitely make his way up.
for sure.
And last but certainly not least, we've got Pittsburgh Pro Champ and second place at New York, last year's Optimum Classic champ Eric Wildberger. Jay, Eric. What
Yeah.
makes him a great classic athlete?
Just, I mean, from top to bottom, man, he does have a very, very classic shape. I mean, he poses very well to his strengths as well, the way he poses and displays his physique. But overall, his condition is wild. Like the glutes from the back are some of the most peeled glutes I've seen in person. They are just lines after lines all through that glute, which is wild to see. He has a crazy back with some lines and different intricate things going on, like in the lower back and stuff like that, that really pop that I haven't really seen on a lot of people. So he really separates himself from the pack there from behind. But overall, I just think he's getting better show to show too. And he's just a giant frame. Like I don't know exactly how tall he is. I know he's a lot damn taller than me. So to me, he's a giant. So it's really hard to miss a guy like that on stage, um, that has this level of conditioning and this type of look. So he's dangerous every single time. That back shot's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that back double is just nasty, dude. I'm excited to see Eric back on stage again. I love that he's just going for these wins, man. Like this is what bodybuilding's all about.
Oh yeah,
Just competing and just getting after it, being a fierce competitor. And Eric's also just a super nice guy too. So like he's one of those guys who is gonna be a fierce competitor, give it his all. But at the end of the day, man, he's like a great sportsman. He represents Brazil very well. And, he's a great athlete too. So really just a tremendous dude. And it's hard to not like Eric Wildberger. So I'm looking forward to seeing him again here at the Optimum Classic. So that's going to do it for the lineup. But the most exciting part is coming up. We got Jay and myself making our picks right here. So we'll do our top 5 and pick our winner here at the end. Jay, as a special guest, would you like to go first or would you like me to?
It's up to you. You pick. Go ahead. I'm good.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go. Usually people just make me go first, so I'll like so you know what? If anybody's mad, I'll take the heat. We'll just go we'll roll with that. I think so. Okay. Starting out, I think this is an awesome lineup, and there's a couple of guys who I think could really like have that signature moment in their careers because it's a lot of guys who are kind of up and coming, and getting into that like top 3, top 4 could be a big moment. So, I mean, with that said, I think I've got a pretty clear top 5 in my head. So I'm gonna go here, just racking my brain to like see where I'm going to place everybody. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Yeah, I got my top 5. So I'm going to go in 5th place here. So 5th place is tough for me because I was kind of trying to decide between 2 guys who both have great shape, but I'm going to go with the guy who I think is a little bit more complete and probably just bigger in general. Both guys have great shape, great condition. But I'm gonna go with Adam Thomas here in 5. I think Adam's got superb structure, great condition, very polished stage presence. Coming up as a men's physique pro, now to a classic pro. I was kind of thinking about Jorge Tibet there, but I don't really know. I think Adam definitely beats him in the legs, like undoubtedly, and they're pretty similar in the upper body too. Really, the same weakness, which is the arms. So I'm gonna go Adam in 5. I'm gonna go with Lamar in 4 right here. I think Lamar has excellent structure, excellent condition. I do think the guys ahead of him are going to probably, have one upper hand, and 2 of those guys are going to just be bigger. One of them, I think, is going to make the difference with his posing. And in 3rd place, I'm going to go Barry Irving. I think Sporty's going to be in 3rd. I think his posing is going to edge him out against Lamar. I think it'll be a pretty good matchup with those 2 because they both have spectacular shape. They're both fantastic posers. They're both going to bring the condition. And I think that's going to be a really fun matchup to watch. In 2nd, I've got Camilo Diaz because dude's just grainy, dense, hard, and does not miss. But I got to go with Eric Wildberger for the win here. I think Eric's going to pull this one off. I don't see anybody beating him here from a shape, muscularity, or presentation, perspective. I think Eric is very polished. He knows what his strengths are. He's already got 1 big win under his belt. He's going to go for 2. So I'm going to go Eric for the win here. So those are my picks. Jay, what are your thoughts, man?
Honestly, ours are going to be pretty similar with a few swapped. So I was looking around. 5th is really hard, man. Like you were saying, there's a lot of guys that can be interchangeable on that day. It just depends who really, really shows up. But honestly, man, I'm gonna go with Jorge Tibet in my 5th place spot. I just think that condition is super gnarly. I think if he had a year off, he's gonna have time to improve. So hopefully, prove me right. But if the legs improved and stuff like that in certain areas, I just really like his physique. I think it'll flow better, and I think that condition and stuff will bring him up with that shape. Will bring him up to that 5th place spot at least. Fighting for that top 5. And then in 4th, I'm actually gonna go with Adam Thomas. I just, again, 9th at New York is not nothing slight, so he's gonna be somebody to be reckoned with. And again, I just think he works with a great coach in Cuts. They've been working together for a long time. So I think, again, like I said, as he does more classic shows, I think he's going to get better and better. and he's got a feel for a big stage like New York. So this is a little bit of a smaller show. So I think the nerves won't be there. Cortisol won't be as high, and he's going to come in looking even better. And again, I just think that back is something that'll put him up in this spot with a lot of these guys that have some great backs, up there. So that's my fourth place pick. In third, I'm going to go with my boy Lamar Shaw. Another proven Olympian. He's always going to be in the mix. Just comes down to nailing it on that show day. So if he comes in nailed like he should, again, just a great back to go along with a lot of these other guys and to really challenge Eric, and which is a strength of Eric's. So I think he can be comparable up there. Really classic shape. And then my second, we're going to be the same here, but Camilo Diaz. My boy Camilo is just grainy, man. Like grainy and hard that you can't even imagine. It's ridiculous in person. Veins flying out everywhere. So again, like you said, if he nails it perfectly and him and Aceto get that, secret sauce and they put that on stage and everything comes in spot on, he's somebody that just with the muscularity, he's just very overwhelming. And I just think his shape has gotten even better from years prior. So that's my second place. And obviously, first, I think it's his show to lose by a long shot. And I don't really see anybody touching him. Seeing that he did get better from Pittsburgh to New York, I think. And I think he's just going to get better again here in Shreveport. It's going to be Eric Wildberger. That back is something that's very, very hard to beat. All that density, that thickness, and all that detail and conditioning from the back especially. A lot of dudes don't have. That's something that separates him big time. And I think just, again, he works with a great coach, which is Cuts. So I think they're going to improve show to show. And, I don't know if he's shutting it down after this. I probably would. But, I think he's going to come in here to this show and cap off, this streak of coming in hot. So I think he's going to cap it off with a win here.
That's it, guys. That's our picks. Eric Wildberger taking the top spot at Optimum for both Jay and I. So it's going to be a great show, guys. Again, it's this Saturday, May 25th in Shreveport, Louisiana. Not sure about the live stream. If there is one, I'll be sure to drop it in the YouTube description. Make sure y'all can go get that. Giving y'all all the updates on Instagram as usual. But before we get out of here, I want to make sure to thank my special guest, Jay Yount, for taking the time out of his day to do this preview and talk classic. So make sure you guys give him a follow here on Instagram. It's JYount_. And use all of his codes. Support him, man. He's a great dude, a great bodybuilder, and definitely worth a follow here on Instagram. And it wouldn't be a preview without, giving some shout outs. Jay, I know you got some great people in your corner. You want to give any shout outs to any people, any sponsors, you name it?
I want to shout out my sponsor, Hostile. I don't know if y'all can see. My supplement sponsor, Hostile, Fuad, all them out there. Really appreciate them. Shout out my meal prep sponsor, Meals by Jay. I do want to shout out a newly sponsor that I just got, which is Jet North. So Jet North Clothing, code J there. The link is already live, so the code should work by now. And then also, shout out my rock, my girl, Maddie, and all the people around me here that just, keep me going, keep me motivated. And lastly, shout out to you, bro, because, we wouldn't be here without you talking classic and just talking bodybuilding like, we'd love to do. This is our passion. So huge shout out to you at the end of the day, man.
Man, I appreciate you again, Jay. Thank you so much for taking the time, dude. I know all the athletes are going to be giving it their all, and they're going to definitely be looking forward to this preview from a great classic athlete like yourself. So
Thank you,
that
man. I
is going to
appreciate it.
do it for the show today, guys. I'm Brant, and that's Jay. Make sure you guys
Yes,
keep it classic. We'll catch you later.